Good evening and welcome to the Virtual College Exploration for all North and South Carolina students, sponsored by the Carolinas Association of Collegiate Registrars and Admission Officers, or CACRAO, and StriveScan. We thank you for joining us. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can utilize the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of many different sessions happening through this CACRAO StriveScan partnership, so we encourage you to check the full list of offerings at CACRAO's website at cacrao.org. This presentation is being recorded and will be made available within about a week following its conclusion. Now, without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to our presenters so that they can begin.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'm going to share my screen. Uh-oh, let me stop sharing that one, sorry.
It's not a true presentation unless we have a little technical difficulty.
Right. Is that screen right?
It's still showing the PowerPoint breakdown of it.
Got it. Now, oh boy. Sorry, everyone. How about that? Oh. Oh no, sorry. I'm disconnected from my VPN and I'm wondering if that's going to mess me up.
I can see if I can also share and pull it up real quick.
Let me see if yes. So sorry, everyone. You have, I think it's going to restart mine, Jen. Do you have the NACAC slides, Jen, that one on?
That's not showing up. It's
Okay.
not allowing me to bring it up.
Okay. Can you just bring up freshman info?
Yeah, just give me 1 second.
Sorry. Sorry, everyone, for the delay. I think it's the connection from VPN that is impacting Zoom. All right, so I will get started. My name is Chelsea Whitman. I am one of the assistant directors in the Office of Admissions at UNC Charlotte. Excited to be with you all this evening. We're going to break down the session essentially into two parts. I'm going to cover a brief overview of the university. I'm talking a little bit about campus life, residential life at UNC Charlotte, a little bit about enrollment numbers and things like that. And then I will pass it over to Jen, who will break down the admission or the application process. So we'll dive pretty deep into the explanation of submitting an application, what we deem competitive in terms of evaluation, what's required for the process, and things like that. So as we're going, certainly feel free to throw questions into that Q&A button that you should see at the bottom of your screen. We will likely hold questions until the end of the presentation, but we will make sure that we save time to address as many questions as possible. If we're not able to verbally get to your questions, we will certainly do our best to respond to them individually if we're able to type out a response for any questions that you have. So let us know as we're going, and we'll get to them as we can. So I'll let Jen introduce herself real quick, and then we'll get started.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging in with us, hanging there with us. But my name's Jen. I am an admissions counselor here at UNC Charlotte. Super excited to have you guys join us. And I'm sure Chelsea gave you the layout of what this evening's going to look like, but then I'll also be walking through the application process with all of you guys. So definitely feel free to use that Q&A button for any questions that you have. And then I'll go ahead and pass it back to Chelsea.
Awesome, thank you. So looking at UNC Charlotte in terms of North Carolina and the public university system, We each have a distinction of who we represent, and we are proud to be recognized as North Carolina's Urban Research University. A lot of that has to do with our location, our close proximity to the city of Charlotte, and the unique experiences and opportunities that are essentially extended to our students, in which we see a large percentage of undergraduate students specifically taking advantage of the ability to do research. It's certainly not the only example. We'll talk about a little bit more a bit later in the presentation, but that's a big piece of where that distinction kind of lies. We're also currently recognized as the fastest growing university in North Carolina. We just hit record enrollment for the year. Our census was yesterday. So we've contributed quite a bit of growth to the overall system and experienced a lot of growth on our individual campus. You'll see 22 new buildings have gone up in the last 7 years. And this image is a picture of our newest facility that just opened up this past January. This is our University Rec Center with 5 levels dedicated to health and wellness and fitness. And so that's our brand new facility right beside of our student union on campus. Next, taking a look at numbers. So I mentioned that we hit record enrollment just over, and this slide is a little bit behind with census just hitting yesterday, but total enrollment now exceeds 30,000 actually. We're sitting at 30,100 plus for total enrollment, looking at both undergrads and graduate students. Undergraduates, a little over 24,000. That ultimately translates into a first time entering freshman class each fall of about 37 to 3,800. This year being a record year with the freshman class entering right at 4,000 students. Looking into our opportunities that students take advantage of outside of the classroom. You'll see here, this is a really very brief illustration, or certainly not comprehensive list of companies and organizations that have a strong reputation in the greater Charlotte area that we see consistently seeking UNC Charlotte students for opportunities beyond the classroom, meaning an internship, a co-op experience, study abroad, potentially an internship abroad with one of these companies. And it's not uncommon to see UNC Charlotte students taking advantage of more than one option in terms of experiential learning. But this list too is really to illustrate the advantage of our location and the variety of industries that have a strong presence in our location. So our students, kind of regardless of which academic college and program that they're pursuing, there really is a plethora of opportunities for them to take advantage of outside of the classroom that really helps them navigate the process of what life looks like beyond the bachelor's degree. All right, and I'll pass it over to Jen. Sorry, I'll cover this and then, well, is this the part that you're covering? I'll pass it over to Jen.
Thanks, Chelsea. So briefly going to talk about the application process. I'm sure that is a question that's on everybody's mind, especially with all the changes that have been brought for us this year. So our application is available. We are looking for you guys to submit an online application, whether it is through the Common App, through CFNC, which is the College Foundation of North Carolina. So if you're a resident of North Carolina, and then, or another way is through our website by what's called a Future 49er portal. So we need that online application in some type of form. We do not have a preference. There's an application fee of $75. There is that we do accept fee waivers. So if you are eligible for that, then you can go ahead and just reach out to your counselor to find out about that, and we'll accept those. And then we'll also need an official transcript from your high school. And then this year, a little different is that we are going to require an essay. And then you'll see that we don't require test scores. So this year we are test optional. We won't be requiring those SAT or ACT test scores. We don't require recommendation letters or a personal statement, but if you have those, you can feel free to send them. So for the essay this year, I like to tell students that, we are not looking for necessarily a story that's as long as a fairy tale or something that's as simple as why you love the color green. But we're really looking to know who you are as a student academically, the type of interest you have, maybe something that has changed you this past year. I know there's been a lot of curveballs thrown our way. So something like that. But there are different essay prompts if you're applying through the Common App or even through CFNC or our Future 49er portal is how you will receive those prompts as well. So you want to make sure to get all of that information in. We have 2 different deadlines. My biggest piece of advice to students is to always submit your application by our early action deadline, and that would be November 1st. If you have everything submitted by November 1st, then you are guaranteed a decision by January 30th. That early action time frame or early action decision is a non-binding decision. So if you are admitted then you do not have to commit to coming to UNC Charlotte. You just simply let us know. We do have a regular decision deadline of February 1st, and then you're guaranteed a decision by April 1st. Now, anything application-wise that we receive after February 1st is reviewed on a space available basis. So again, kind of going back to that November 1st deadline, just because that is when a student's going to receive the most consideration on their application. That's when we admit the most of our freshman class. It also allows students to enjoy the time of their senior year. So it's a little bit of a stress reliever as well. There is a 2-week time period of once you meet that deadline to go ahead and make sure that you can submit any other required materials. So like that transcript or that essay. But definitely want to keep in mind that November 1st and February deadline so that you can be considered for admission at UNC Charlotte. Now we have an admitted freshman profile, but by no means are these the requirements. So these numbers came from our current freshman class, and we focused right on the middle 50%. So if you do fall within these ranges, you can feel confident that you're competitive for admission to UNC Charlotte, but keep in mind that we have admitted students that have fell below or above these scores. Now, I'm not going to mention the SATs or ACT test scores because you can see them on the screen, but I know that a lot of students are not getting the opportunity to take the test scores. So if they do fall within those ranges, that's great. If they don't, or if they are above, you're not going to be penalized for not submitting test scores or for submitting any type of scores. The only thing they could do is help you. Now for a weighted GPA, we're looking in between a 3.7 and a 4.3, and then an unweighted GPA in between a 3.3 and a 3.8. You'll see at the bottom of the screen, there are some competitive majors, and those are engineering, computer science, business, and nursing. And those programs, again, don't have a secondary application. They don't have any specific requirements that they're looking for, but they are wanting students to be towards the middle to upper ends of our ranges. What makes us unique here at UNC Charlotte is that when we are reviewing students for admission, we are looking at their major secondly. So first we're looking to see, are you competitive for admission to the university? And then we're looking to see what major you chose. So that is something that makes us unique in our admissions process, because at some other institutions, you may indicate that you're interested in a competitive program, and then that program might be something that you're not competitive for and you're denied for that, but you're also denied admission into the university. And that's not the case here at UNC Charlotte. So if you're not competitive for that specific major, whether it's engineering, computer science, business, or nursing, but you're still competitive for admission to the university, we would change your major to undecided, let you know, and then you can later work towards that program that you're interested in with the help of our academic advisors and all the different resources here. So that is a big plus here at UNC Charlotte, and just something to keep in mind too. But we do offer a ton of different majors that I believe Chelsea's going to go and speak about a little bit on as well. All right, so talking about scholarships and our honors program, I'm actually going to invite Chelsea to come back on because this is her expertise when she is speaking about high achieving students.
Awesome, thanks, Jen. So essentially looking at opportunities to take your academic experience a step further. These are highlighting both scholarship as well as honors program opportunities. So first and foremost, the Levine Scholars Program is our premier merit-based scholarship program. It's the only scholarship that you will not access through the scholarship portal that I'll go over next. It is initiated by the nomination process. And so that deadline is quickly approaching on October 8th. You have the ability to submit a nomination, a self-nomination through the Future 49er portal, or your high school counselor or teacher will also be able to submit a nomination on your behalf. And that is essentially how you would proceed through the application process for Levine Scholars. For those that might not be as familiar with Levine, the Levine Scholars Program covers full cost of attendance. It's highly selective in terms of our major, in terms of academics, but they're also seeking leadership. Service is a very big part of the Levine Scholars Program and what they seek in the criteria for the program. But essentially, the nomination, as I mentioned, that deadline is October 8th, and then the supplemental application would then be due by November 16th. So beyond that program covering full cost of attendance, it also includes summer experiences where you go abroad, a grant to work with a nonprofit or to work with a community service-based organization in the greater Charlotte area. So there's a lot of additional things that essentially come with that program. I mentioned it's highly selective. Each cohort is about 20 to 25 students per year, but a great opportunity. Outside of Levine, there are definitely other opportunities for scholarship. And the way to identify scholarship opportunities that you potentially qualify that are internal to UNC Charlotte is going to be through the Niner Scholars Portal. This particular portal is actually facilitated through our scholarship office, and the portal won't open until October. So for those of you who may have already submitted your application for fall, know that you can begin pursuit of the scholarship process in October, and you likely won't have your admission decision then. All you have to build your profile within the scholarship portal is a university application on file. But once you build that profile, it will match you to scholarship opportunities and let you know of the supplemental pieces that you need to submit to complete that process for consideration. Scholarship deadlines typically vary. The dollar amount varies as well. And essentially, scholarships that have the higher dollar amount tend to have earlier deadlines. So we encourage students to really start pursuing that scholarship portal as soon as it becomes available in October. Something else you will find in the Scholars Portal is an application to the Honors College. So coming into the Honors College, you're essentially completing one application for consideration across 3 different honors programs that are essentially eligible, or a program that you participate in for all 4 years. Beyond that, we also have disciplinary honors programs that you would apply into later on. But the 3 honors programs you're eligible for coming out of high school is the Business Honors Program, our Art and Architecture Honors Program, and then our University Honors Program. Of those 3, University Honors Program is the only one that is not major specific. So you can be in any major and pursue the University Honors Program application. Students pursue honors for a variety of reasons, but you'll see a lot of them listed here. The opportunities for networking, social experiences, smaller classes. A lot of the classes that you end up taking at the honors level or distinction that also tend to fulfill general education courses tend to be much smaller, and the curriculum is designed to be a little bit more interactive, engaging, and hands-on. So when you think about honors, it's important to think about honors being, honors at UNC Charlotte specifically, not necessarily being more work or being harder. It's essentially designed to be a community of students focused on academics, but also other elements of the 4-year experience, like the community service aspect, and putting academics certainly as a priority, but essentially just thinking about your curriculum and how that's set up in a different way. That application is the priority review deadline for our honors college is December 15th. for a notification in February. All right, and I don't know, here we go. All right, so here is just a snapshot of our contact. So this is a way we hope that you will follow up after today's session. If we're not able to get to your question, or if you have individual questions or questions that pop up after we end today's session, you can always call our office, send us an email, and certainly by visiting the website, you learn a lot of helpful up-to-date information there. We have a specific section devoted to important updates that you'll find directly from the homepage of the admissions website, which is just admissions.uncc.edu. And that is where we put any updates that are relevant to students applying, visiting campus, things like that. We also have a variety of ways to connect with us, both virtually and in person, coming up very soon. But we have we offer virtual visits, virtual campus visits on a daily basis, Monday through Friday, and on select Saturdays. We also offer the option for one-on-one meetings virtually. So we have a virtual lobby open from 9 to 4 on a daily basis that you can just pop into a Zoom lobby and connect with an admissions counselor to get your questions answered. You can also call our office at any time if you feel more comfortable speaking with someone over the phone. Our office line is actually open 8 to 5, and we're happy to answer any questions via phone as well. We also, something not listed here, we will be offering a virtual or a fall virtual open house on Saturday, October 24th. And that is a great way to learn a lot more information and speak with individuals in your specific areas of interest. So that would be a way to connect with individuals outside of admissions, where you can talk to academic departments, campus life offices, student support services, things like that at an open house. So registration just opened for that event yesterday, and you can register for our fall open house that will take place virtually through the Future 49er portal. That event will run from 9 to 1 that Saturday, and it will essentially comprise of a variety of live information sessions, live guided tours of campus that are done virtually, drop-in meetings with different offices. There also will be some on-demand content only available on the event site as well. In terms of opportunities to visit us in person, those are going to be starting back in October. You should be able to register for those fairly soon through the Future 49er portal, but we should start offering the ability to get to campus in person on a much more limited basis than normal, but we're excited to have the possibility of opening, or have the ability to open up in-person visits in a few weeks. All right, and that being said, I will see, it looks like we have several questions coming in, and I'm happy to tackle whatever you want to throw, Jen.
Awesome. Okay, so we definitely have a couple of great questions. The first question is asking about applying as an undecided major and if it puts students at a disadvantage.
Yes, fair question. I would say this is a pretty common one that we get in the fall. So applying undeclared or undecided, so indicating that as the intended major on the application, does not put you at any disadvantage as an applicant. It's essentially allowing us to review your application based on the general admission criteria and that profile that Jen went over for a spot in University College. In reality, students entering in the first year, regardless of being in a designated major or being undecided, you are completing a lot of your general education courses. If you're that student who is wavering between a few majors, you're just not totally sure what major you want to go with, coming in undecided is a great option. The academic advisors in University College are a supplemental resource to students kind of navigating that process and ultimately deciding a major that's a good fit.
Awesome. So a couple more questions rolling in. So kind of going back to what you mentioned about the honors application, our honors applications reviewed separately from the main application, and can students apply to honors programs after they received a notification of being accepted?
Great question. So yes, the application for consideration of honors is completely separate from your university application. To get to that application, you would have to access it through the Niner Scholars portal. And the only thing you need to activate or build that portal, that Niner Scholars portal, is an application on file. So you can actually begin the process applying to the honors program without having your offer of admission to the university yet. We would encourage you, once you have submitted your application to UNC Charlotte, and we roll around in a couple weeks and we're in October, to go ahead and build that profile to complete the honors college application as well as scholarships.
Awesome.
Does that answer the question fully?
Yeah, I think so for sure.
Okay.
Okay, another great question about application materials. When you submit them, do they all have to be submitted at the same time?
Oh yes, great question. So no, essentially, as Jen mentioned, kind of going over that deadline, November 1st is the deadline to have the application in. And not saying you have to wait all the way out to November 1st, you can submit the application, it's live now. Submitting that application now, and then submitting the supplemental items, they will attach to your application as they're being received. So that essay, the transcript, and the fee or an approved fee waiver can come behind the application being submitted. You just want to make sure everything's in our office by November 15th. So essentially November 1 is the application has to be received in our office. And then the 3 supporting documents or pieces to that application need to be received by November 15th, that 2-week buffer or window to essentially complete the process for those who end up submitting an application a little bit later in the fall.
Awesome. So we're getting a lot of questions about different programs. So I was going to go ahead and just share my screen real quick. And if you kind of just want to touch on those briefly so that students are able to see all that we can offer for them.
Yeah, love it. So these are, this is a structure, a breakdown of the academic structure at UNC Charlotte. So thinking about UNC Charlotte as the main umbrella, underneath that umbrella, we have these 7 academic colleges that are home to each of our 171 majors, or each one of these majors falls within an academic college, essentially. So the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences is the largest with the widest variety of offerings, from criminal justice, psychology. I'll see if I can list any that are in the Q&A. So anyway, largest college here in terms of programs. College of Arts and Architecture is home to our School of Architecture as well as our Visual and Performing Arts. Belk College of Business is home to our 9 business programs. Cato College of Education, a great choice for students pursuing becoming a teacher. Computing and Informatics is home to computer science students. And there are a variety of concentrations students can choose from data analytics, AI robotics, cybersecurity, and so forth there. College of Health and Human Services is home to our School of Nursing, as well as programs like exercise science, social work, public health, and the Lee College of Engineering is home to all of our engineering disciplines. Think about mechanical, electrical, and computer systems, civil engineering, as well as programs like fire safety and construction management. And then University College, as I mentioned, for students who are undeclared initially, you can absolutely apply to UNC Charlotte undecided in that first year. Did that help kind of cover some of the basis in terms of programs?
Absolutely.
Too far.
Some of the questions were more of like if we have physical therapy or graphic design, journalism and broadcasting, just to name a few that have stuck out.
Okay, so the first one that you mentioned, physical therapy. So kind of along those lines, we offer the health science tracks. So thinking pre-med, pre-dental, pre-physical therapy. All of those are not necessarily bachelor degree offerings. They are advising tracks that are supplemental to your bachelor degree program. In the example of physical therapy, a lot of times students will end up majoring in exercise science and adding the pre-physical therapy advising track, which essentially provides another layer of advisement to ensure that you're taking the right classes that you need for the PT program you'll be applying to. Preparation for entrance exam, research on programs to apply to, things like that. And the other advising tracks operate and function the same way for medicine, dental, vet, and so forth. It sounded like some of the other ones: graphic design falling within art, journalism, falling within communication that you're going to see in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. So we have communication. We also have creative writing. Those are going to be programs that fold within the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences.
Awesome. So I think that's all of our questions. So one last question about program is if we have a radiology program.
We do not have a radiology program specifically, no. That tends to also be a little more tech focused, and you can find a lot of 2-year programs in radiology, but we do not have a 4-year program for radiology.
Awesome. And then kind of staying on track with the majors is if a student is able to switch majors in the middle of the year.
So you are able to change majors. You would be working essentially with advisors. If you're switching out of an academic college, so from Belk College of Business to Cato College of Education, you'd be working with an advisor in University College to make the switch. But essentially you can make a change to your major, and you would work with advisors to make the formal switch and ensure that you're taking classes that are meaningful towards the major that you're looking to matriculate into.
Awesome. So it looks like those are all of the questions for academic wise. I will say for the students that are asking questions of all thing academics, we offer 171 majors, so that's a lot to choose from, but definitely feel free to check out our website to see everything that we do offer, from majors to minors to even double majoring. But I see that we do have some questions about tuition and room and board costs. So I was also going to bring up this screen just so that everybody could see it visually and kind of have a good understanding of the breakdown of price.
Yes, thank you for doing that, Jen. So this is going to be something we did not cover, was financial aid as an additional way to offset cost of attendance. So first and foremost, before we dive into cost of attendance, knowing that we encourage all first-year families to complete the FAFSA that also opens in October, with a priority deadline being January 1st. By submitting that application and information to us by January 1, that ensures that you get your offer letter by March 1st, which gives you ample time in the spring semester of senior year to help make a decision for a college fit that also is a good fit financially for you and your family by May 1st. So then you'll see there, this is a breakdown of some of the bigger factors that fold into total cost of attendance. So the in-state tuition this is for the year. So $7,000, and then out-of-state students is a little over $20,000 for the year for tuition and fees. Living on campus will vary depending on which residence hall you're in, what floor plan, how many roommates per room, that kind of thing. And then a meal plan. If you're a first-year student living on campus, there's one meal plan that's actually very versatile. It gives you access to multiple dining halls, food courts, and eateries on campus. So kind of adding all of that up, depending on if you are an in-state or out-of-state student, you're probably looking for a North Carolina student without aid or scholarships or anything taken into consideration. You're probably looking at about between $20,000 and $25,000 for the year.
Awesome. So some more common questions we are getting are if there are any clubs available for students studying abroad and what they could be doing on campus to get involved.
Yes, we have a very robust campus life at UNC Charlotte. So we have over 400 clubs and orgs. We have over 50 intramural and club sports teams and 18 Division I athletic teams. We also study abroad, going to over 70 countries. There's a lot to do on campus, in the city of Charlotte, and globally in terms of opportunities facilitated through the university. But our clubs range everything from leadership opportunities, faith-based organizations, student government, sorority and fraternity life, health and wellness, different buckets in terms of the opportunities that you can take advantage of in campus life. So I certainly encourage you to check out following social media, looking on the website will give you a lot of insight into campus life opportunities.
Awesome. So one really great question that I've seen is also if you had, so how an early college student should apply for admission, how that would affect their admission, and just kind of their process.
Yes, love that. So early college students should apply to UNC Charlotte as a freshman applicant. Essentially, we are reviewing you as a first-year entering student with college credit. So you don't technically become a transfer applicant until you enroll in college-level courses after high school graduation. This is essentially a benefit to you as an applicant, making available to you all of the resources for a first-year student, scholarships for a first-year student, residential opportunities, honors program opportunities that are available in some cases exclusively for first-year students. Know that coming in as a first-year student doesn't impact how your credits transfer. They all transfer in the same as long as you're taking college-level courses, earning grades of C or higher. They're transferable, and then fully earning the associate's degree. So that Associate of Arts or the Associate of Science, those degrees transfer to us as a whole, giving you a blanket credit towards general education. Lots of questions, Jen.
Yes, a ton rolling in. A couple more about different clubs that we have. Again, Chelsea mentioned that we have over 400 clubs and organizations. So there's always something new on campus. I know that they range from faith-based to academic-based to student government to we even have a Jeep Wrangler club. So if you have a Jeep, you could be a part of that. But I would definitely recommend checking out the website called ninerengage.uncc.edu. And that gives you a breakdown of all of the clubs. And if you are a prospective senior, that actually gives you the contact information of the club manager too. That's usually a current student, so you can kind of get in touch with them as well. I think that another really good question that we have coming through is if we have any advice for transfer students.
Oh, yes. Transfer students. So I would encourage a transfer student at this point to join us for a transfer information session. We have dedicated information sessions that speak really in depth about the process of applying for admission, how your credits transfer, getting that transfer credit report to see exactly how your specific credits are coming over to UNC Charlotte. We also have a lot of great tools on our transfer admission page. So if you're at admissions.uncc.edu, you'll see at the top left-hand corner, you have the option to select freshman, transfer, international, counselor, and so forth. That transfer section is the landing page for all the resources that you need as a transfer applicant. It'll show you tools for seeing how your credits transfer through that transfer credit advisor. It will also provide you with guides created from the departments, providing you recommendations of transferable coursework. That's not only coursework that you can complete at the community college that's transferable to us, but it's a recommendation of courses that align with the requirements for that specific academic college or program. So it's helping to ensure that you're taking courses that align with degree progression for when you do transfer, you know that the classes that you're coming in with are advancing you towards earning that bachelor's degree and not just coming in as electives or things that aren't meeting or fulfilling requirements. Great question.
Yes, so a lot of questions rolling in. Just trying to see if there's anything that we haven't hit on yet. We do have some questions again about the application, if it's open, and about that November 1st deadline, and then some questions about housing as well.
Okay. So in terms of the application, do you want to, what are the questions specifically, or do you want to?
Yes, so the one question that I can see right now says, when does the application open for the November 1st early admission?
Perfect, it's open. It's open on Common Application, the CFNC website, or our institutional version of the application is accessible through the Future 49er portal. All applications ask the same questions. We don't have a preference to the platform that you use. Once it's imported into our system, it all looks exactly the same.
Awesome. Okay. And then just some questions about housing, what the residence halls look like, if there are different types of them as well.
Yes, and we failed you on showing images of housing and residence life, which is our fault. But housing and residence life, great options on campus, from hall style to suite style to apartment style. Great opportunities within each of those styles. For example, in the suite style, you have double occupancy, single occupancy, and that's suites where 4 people each have their own bedroom. That's a single occupancy, and you have the double occupancy options within a suite in which there are 2 bedrooms in that suite and 2 people share a room there. So there's kind of variety in how that looks. We also have North Village and South Village, and they kind of have their different advantages in terms of if one area of campus and residence halls are located closer to the student union over in North Village, and then in South Village, those residence halls where we see a lot of freshman housing options, they're in close proximity to South Village Crossings, which is our newest dining facility on campus. So great options there. And I will also say, as part of our daily virtual campus visits, housing joins those sessions. And so beyond the guided tour of campus, you also get to see, you also get to see housing through the virtual campus visit. So hop on one of those sessions or register to attend to learn more and hear directly from housing. This is great. Yeah. So 18 residence halls. We don't have a residential requirement. That might be helpful to know. However, you'll see such a large percentage of first-year students typically are opting to live on campus. I think that's a testament to the options that we have at UNC Charlotte, with such a large percentage of them choosing to live on campus in that first year. Thanks for pulling that up, Jen.
You are welcome. All right. Okay, to stay on track with housing, there is a question that asks if there's any housing benefits or any benefits at all for applying early.
Yes, actually they make housing assignments based on the date of housing application and housing deposit received. So the application typically opens late fall for the upcoming year. So applying early, submitting your housing deposit or your housing fee does get you an assignment more quickly. We also have the opportunity of learning communities. That's something I didn't talk about. Most of them are residential, but there are some learning communities that are not residential. So those are great, and they're not all academic. I think sometimes it does seem like people are more familiar with learning communities, but it's important to know learning communities are not necessarily academic or major specific. There are a lot of learning communities that are interest-based, focused on leadership, focused on women and gender studies. That sounds more academic, but it's not totally tied to that program. So anyway, that's another advantage to applying early, is really learning about your different options within the learning community.
Awesome. So I think that for the last and final question, as we're about to wrap up, is what makes UNC Charlotte unique?
Yes, so there are a lot of things I think personally that make UNC Charlotte unique. So I'll let Jen share her opinion too, but I will say for me, as a staff member over the last 5 years, I think what really makes UNC Charlotte unique is that we are a large university, second largest public university in North Carolina, but our experience kind of at each realm, in the academic setting, the social setting, the residential setting, it's all designed to feel inclusive and smaller than kind of what it sounds. So I think joining the community at UNC Charlotte, you get to be part of something big without feeling like you're simply a number on our campus. And so I think that's really unique about the UNC Charlotte community.
Absolutely. I agree 100% with that. I would also say that students really have the best of both worlds at UNC Charlotte. We have a close, tight-knit community feel here on campus. We're a residential style campus, so no main highways or roads that are going through the middle of campus, but we do have Charlotte, the uptown area is about 10 miles south from us. So if you like that city life, or if you're looking to go and explore, whether it be for something fun or internships or to volunteer, you have that right at your fingertips. We have the light rail that connects us to Charlotte. So I always tell students that you actually don't have to leave campus to physically leave campus. So there are a ton of opportunities, whether it's something to do on our campus or within the city of Charlotte too.
Awesome. It looks like we're right at time. Thank you all so much. We'll pass it back over, but thank you for joining us. We hope that you'll follow up after today's session to learn more or get more questions answered.
Thank you for joining this evening's session. We hope that once you close your window, you'll complete a 4-question survey that should appear once you do so. In addition, feel free to sign up for more sessions that can be found on CACRAO's website at cacrao.org. Lastly, a recording will be made available for this particular session shortly after we have concluded. Take care and have a wonderful evening.